What's going on, people? Welcome to another installment of Tony's Take. All right, so I've had all these ideas rumble around in my head just now. I was just eating lunch and stuff. I'm like, hold on, man, I gotta talk about this Sony shit. Everything about the PS4 Pro and all that. Now, we already posted our React podcast to that, which last time I checked, it was like 8,000 views. You guys really dug that, so thank you all for clicking on that. Little side note: I was going to be on that episode, but I was busy, writing about the event, right? So I wasn't able to make it, right? So plug geek.com, awesome site. But the thing is, okay, I don't want to talk about the news so much as I want to talk about my theories about what's going on here, right? I talked about this on the last episode of Throwdown, episode 100, people. Thank you all for making that happen. Please make sure to go over to Throwdown's channel to check that out. Crazy show. We had Hip Hop Gamer on, Torrance Davis, my man Reggie Butler, Weapon X. Wild show. But anyway, I said something on there that was kind of lost amid all the madness. I'm probably going to bring this up again on the next episode of Throwdown because I feel that it's a solid theory to work on, right? Give me a second here. All right, sorry about that. I got a phone call. It's like, why you got to be calling me during the middle of a recording? And yes, I could have edited all this together, but whatever, it's all fun. Okay, so I want to do a quick video on my speculations on what I think is going to happen, right? Again, I wanted to talk about this on Throwdown, but it was all craziness, so couldn't get to it, so let's do it now, right? Okay, so we saw that Sony released the PS4 Pro 3 years, basically. They're going to release in November, right? Basically almost 3 years after the launch of the normal PlayStation. They also released the Slim, but let's not worry about the Slim right now, right? So this is what I think is going to happen, and this is all based on the fact that what Phil Spencer said earlier. I know he's Microsoft, but it all kind of all boils together. So he said that Microsoft is looking into making, its consoles more iterative, like cell phones and PC cards, right? The thing is, those things come out every year, and sometimes they come out every 6 months, right? Especially PC graphics cards, right? I don't think that model works very well for, consoles, because consoles are, not only are they expensive, they're generally $400, $500, but there's no plans like with cell phones. Like with cell phones, it's easy to buy a new cell phone every year or two because you just pay $20 a month, in your regular bill, right? You don't need to worry about that. Consoles, it's just one lump sum. So having them come out every year is not a good deal, right? However, they also don't want to be held back, right? Because usually what would happen is console comes out 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 years. If you go back to last gen, years pass, then a new one comes out, right? But in all that time, there's been so many improvements with graphics and stuff that consoles are left behind, right? So they don't want that anymore. They don't want these consoles to just drag on forever. So I think that 3 years, for the next improvement is actually a pretty good step, right? That way you have just enough time for the console to actually grow a market, but not enough time where it's gonna get blown away by PC parts and stuff. And I know some of you guys may be thinking, Tony, why are you talking about PC parts with consoles? Consoles are basically PCs now. Let's just be honest. They're PCs, right? So, console manufacturers, Sony and Microsoft in this case, don't want to be too far behind with the with the market. So they're like, okay, every 3 years we'll release something. I'll get to Microsoft in a bit. So this is what I think is going on with PlayStation specifically. They're gonna be having 6-year console life cycles. Here's again, this is all my theory. We had PlayStation 4, regular PS4, 2013, right? 2016, this year, what do we have? The PS4 Pro, which is an upgraded version of the PlayStation 4. It's 2 times as powerful, right? What comes next? And again, just my theory, PlayStation 5 proper, 2019, 3 years after the Pro. I think that's how it's going to go down. Basically, you have a new console, a new proper quote-unquote next-gen console. I say quote-unquote because these gens are becoming a little bit muddy now, right? But anyway, let's just go with the usual vernacular, just for the sake of this argument. New console generation every 6 years with a upgraded console in between, in the third year, right? So basically, every 3 years you get a new console. This way, like I said, you give people time to breathe, get used to the console, and then switch over. But the thing that makes this great is, unlike before, we're gonna have backwards compatibility now, right? So let's say you decide, hey, you know what, I don't want PS4, I don't care about the PS4, right? I'm gonna go for the Pro, right? And then maybe a couple of years later, you're like, I don't want to get the PS5 because I feel it's not that much of an upgrade to my PS4 Pro. I'm going to wait. And then maybe you get the PS5 Pro, right? You just keep going on like that. You basically choose when you want to enter the market. And the beautiful thing is, just like with Steam, every game you bought will work, right? And this is just every PlayStation 4 game, because obviously PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games won't work on the PS4. That's what you have PS Now for, right? That's a whole other topic. I'm not getting into that. So I think that's what's going on with Sony. They're going to release a new console every 3 years. And, you know, again, we'll have to see how this works with the PS4 Pro. Just on my end, from judging it off my timeline, it seems that most people are actually pretty happy about this. They've been asking for a new PlayStation for a while, which is crazy. But it also goes to show how, you know, I guess, how underpowered this console generation was, right? So it seems to me like it's going to pay off for them. If you go to Amazon, it's the #1 best-selling thing out there. I know that doesn't really say much because new piece of hardware, people are going to want it, right? But that's what's going on there. So I think that's what's going on with Sony. Microsoft, they're taking a different route, which is also interesting, right? They're not doing mid-gen cycles. They're just skipping right to the next generation. Phil Spencer, he's already said that Microsoft isn't interested in the Xbox 1.5. And let's just be honest, PS4 Pro, that's exactly what it is. It's a PS4.5, right? It's not a new console. It's just the same console, just with a better GPU and a couple other things, right? The Scorpio, and again, with the Scorpio, it's interesting because Scorpio is like, it's vaporware right now. It's not a real system. I'm going off what has been rumored. So just keep that in mind, please. I'm not treating this as fact. I'm just going off what was rumored. So the Scorpio is 6 times more powerful than the Xbox One, right? This is based off the GPU, which is supposed to be 6 teraflops. The regular Xbox One has like 1.5 teraflops. I don't know the exact number. You guys can quote me on that. You know, I mean, don't quote me on that, but you could like help me with that. It's 1 point something teraflops going to 6. That's a huge leap. And then Microsoft, and again, this is just Microsoft promising this, right? They promise true 4K gaming, true 60 frames a second together. I don't know how they're going to pull that off because even current PCs cannot handle that, but that's what, you know, Albert Pinello said on a recent podcast. I believe it was the Inner Circle podcast. Shout out to those guys. So if you're going to have a console that's 6 times more powerful than the previous one, and it does 4K 60 frames, like, easily, apparently, that's a next-gen console. So I think what Microsoft is doing is, okay, every 4 years we're going to have a new system. Not unheard of. Think about it like this. The Xbox One, I'm talking about Xbox One, the original Xbox. We used to call it Xbox One. The Xbox that came out in 2001, I believe. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong about that. Came out in 2001, and then 2005, they came out with the 360. They didn't drag that out because the original Xbox was not doing too hot. They kind of find themselves in the same situation now. The Xbox One is not doing so great. I mean, it's doing great, better than, it's doing better than the 360 at the same point in time, but it's not doing great compared to the PlayStation 4, which is completely destroying it. 20 million console lead, maybe even more than that, right? So it's not doing too hot. So they're like, you know what? Let's cut our losses. Let's just go to the next gen, right? Every 4 years, that's not that bad either if you think about it. That's not bad at all, right? It gives you just enough time for the console to breathe, and then you come out with a new one, right? So it seems like Sony and Microsoft are taking 2 separate paths towards iterative consoles, right? You know, with Microsoft, that's not really iterative. That's just a straight up new console, right? But the thing is, it makes it hard to compare the two now, right? Like, I know some people will disagree with this, but I don't feel it's, proper to compare the PS4 Pro to the Xbox Scorpio because they're just so different power-wise, right? Just like people going, oh, can we compare the PS4 Pro to the Xbox One S? No, because the PS4 Pro is too powerful. You compare the PS4 Slim to the Xbox One S, but not the Pro. So it's going to be a little bit trickier comparing these two systems because think about it like this, right? Scorpio comes out next year, 2017. Then 2019, you got the the PS5. It's going to blow the Scorpio away. And then the year after that, you're going to have the Scorpio 2. It's going to blow the PlayStation 5 away. So it's going to be really weird from now on, right? I think both of these companies just feeling them up, but this is all, I guess, not really growing pains, but it's definitely a shift in how things are done because, again, technology accelerates so fast that these companies have to keep up. Again, like I said this in a previous video. Why is it that cell phones and PC, they're able to have iterative parts released frequently, but consoles aren't, right? It makes no sense. So you need to do that. but at the same time, consoles need to find a way to make it work for them, and I think that's what's going on right now. All right, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. This video came out a little bit longer than I expected, whatever, so I want you guys to sound off. Please let me know what you think about my theory, and, you know, give me your own theory of what you think is going to be happening with consoles now. But yeah, just to reiterate once again, PlayStation will be releasing a new system every 3 years, Microsoft every 4 years. That's what I think. You can quote me on that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll see in 2019, you know, provided the world didn't blow itself up by then. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit like on this video. Hit unlike. I don't care. But I definitely want you to comment either way, you know. So once again, I was Tony from the Koalition with another episode of Tony's Take. I'll see you around next time. Later.
The Koalition.